Today we get to hear from Giles in the UK. So he's a recent graduate of our Harp Beginnings program and has made such amazing progress in a really short amount of time. Let's go ahead and hear from him.
Oh, hi, Carrie. I'm so sorry it's taken me so long to send this in. So sorry for getting in at the last minute. Yeah, any feedback on technique would be great. Thank you very much. Hope you're well.
Giles, look how far you've come. It's just so amazing to see. And I also love the variation you added in green sleeves. Adding that glissando was such a nice touch. But overall, like you're doing so well with your hand position. It looks beautiful. You look very relaxed as you're playing, and just the fluency that you've got down is just really wonderful. So really nice job on just everything that you've accomplished. So the main thing I want to give you feedback on is the volume that you're playing at, because you're playing so beautifully, but we want to hear more of it. And this is something I see pretty commonly with new players, is that when they first start playing, they tend to kind of whisper play the strings and kind of just graze the strings as they're going. But we play an amazing instrument that has so much depth of sound, you just have to search for it. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to really get the best sound out of your harp. So the key here is that we want to press into the strings before we pluck. So we want to press enough that we can actually see that string move. And you might be worried like, oh, I don't want to like pull too hard, I don't want to hurt my harp. But in reality, you're probably more likely to hurt your finger before you hurt your harp. So I want you to try something with me. Go ahead and place your right hand second finger on middle C. And I first want you to press into the string enough that you can see it move. And then I want you to pluck as hard as you can. Okay, so that probably felt a little bit out of your comfort zone. It might have sounded harsh and twangy to your ear, but that's okay. I want you to do the same thing, but just take it down a notch. So apply a little bit less pressure, but we're still just really digging into the string. Okay, so that kind of took the edge off. It didn't sound so harsh, but we're still getting a big sound, right? And remember to really fully relax after you pluck. Now try it again, bring it down another notch, but still pressing in before you pluck. And then we're going to relax afterwards. I also find it helpful to pluck with the squishy part of my finger. That really warms up the sound as you pluck. So I want you to just keep dropping the volume until you find a sound that you're happy with, one that sounds very well-rounded and warm, and you can kind of experiment with that. So you're gonna find that applying that much pressure to the string gives you a sound that you just don't get when you just really lightly pluck it. So when it comes to applying this in the context of green sleeves, let's just take a look at the right hand. So as you place 2 and 1 on A and C, I want you to really wiggle those strings so they move before you pluck. And just like we did in that exercise with second finger, I would suggest playing them quite loudly for now, and then just so you can hear like the sound that your harp is capable of making, then you can always drop the volume a little bit to one that sounds, that matches the character that you want to hear in this piece. But just make sure that you're really pressing in, play a bit more on the squishy part of your finger. And then make sure you're fully relaxing after you pluck. So give that a try, Giles, and see how that transforms your sound in this piece. And for those of you playing a lighter tension harp, you may find that when you really press in hard like that you run into neighboring strings, but it's still possible to get a big sound out of a lighter tension harp. Just focus on really closing down and back into your palm and doing your best to avoid those strings, but you can still press in. Just give it a try. And Giles, I know throughout Harp Beginnings, something that you mentioned that you were working on throughout those 6 weeks is that you were really focused on closing fully back into your palm, which, by the way, I thought you did a great job of that in your video that you sent in. But I think you'll find that when you apply more pressure to the strings overall, that's actually going to feel more natural to close back into your palm because it actually feels like you're kind of launching your fingers back. So give it a try as you're practicing those pieces and see if that makes a difference. So that first exercise we went through where you're just using your second finger, that's a great place to start just to kind of experiment with how much pressure is best for your harp and when it comes to getting that good sound. But I want to show you how to practice this with your other fingers as well. And you may have seen me share this in previous feedback videos, but it's a really good one, so I'm going to share it again. So go ahead and place fingers 4, 3, 2, and 1 in your right hand on middle C, D, E, and F. And I want you to play your thumb. You're going to pluck with your thumb, holding the other 3 fingers on the string. So it'll sound like this. Okay, so I'm pressing into the string, plucking, and then fully relaxing after I pluck. So I'm pressing in and then releasing that tension. So this is a great way to kind of experiment getting a really beautiful tone. You can experiment playing more in the squishy part of your finger versus too much on the tip. And just really kind of search for that sound. I would maybe do this like 5 times in a row for each finger daily just to make it a habit and really kind of search for that as you're playing. Okay, so after you play your thumb, then you move on to your second finger. Again, still holding 4, 3, and your thumb on the string. So we're pressing in and then plucking and relaxing. So you would do that 5 times, and then you can move on to your third finger and do the same thing. So press in and relax. And if the sound just doesn't sound like you want it to, if it sounds kind of tang or twangy, experiment with putting a bit more of your finger on the string and really press in and then fully relax. Okay, and then you would do the same thing with your fourth finger, and then you can switch and do it with your left hand as well. So that's a great way to help build up strength in your fingers, which is also going to contribute to a bolder, louder sound. So that is a really great exercise that you can do daily. So for Giles and everyone watching, I would encourage you, whenever you start a new piece, make it part of the process to spend some time searching for a really beautiful sound. Don't settle for a sound that you're not happy with. Experiment playing with different parts of your finger, pressing in, and making sure you relax fully after you pluck. And I think you'll be amazed at how that really levels up your harp playing. Doing this as you're learning a new piece might take some extra time, but it's so worth it. And after a while, you won't have to spend so much time searching for that sound. It's going to become really natural. So check out the links in the description of this video to submit your own feedback video, and you can also find a link to join our Harp Beginnings program where you can go from absolute beginner to playing beautiful harp music in 6 weeks. And then you can click here to hear my tips for playing smoothly without hesitation.